Let's open it up to questions from the audience. So,
first of all, Laura, I saw your film and I was a huge fan of it. I'm actually a student here. I'm a criminology sociology major, but I'm extremely interested in documentary film, especially pertaining to that subject matter. How strongly would you recommend film school as opposed to just really going out there and exploring different opportunities and making connections?
Well, I've never been to film school myself, so I can't really tell you. I mean, the way I learned was to, get to teach about subjects I knew nothing about at Tri-C and here, and learn on my own. The only thing I think the most valuable thing about a film school probably is the connections you make and the colleagues. I mean, here I felt, though there wasn't a lot going on in the 80s and 90s here, so it's kind of felt pretty isolated, and still do in a lot of ways. Whereas, if you go to school in New York or LA, you're going to meet people that maybe they become your future, they help you out in your next film. So I think it's probably more about making connections, and it depends how self-sufficient you are and how much structure you need. I mean, there's no reason, if you want to learn film history now, that you can't read a book and look at a lot of DVDs. So, you don't have it. So, but some people need the structure to get something done. I would just have a tendency to jump in the deep end and do stuff I knew nothing about, and then go, oh, that's terrible. Oh, how do I make this better? And then ask, but that's not always the most efficient way. So I can't really answer your question. I think it really depends on you and what you need to get work done.
I also didn't go to film school. I think if I had gone to film school, I've taught at film schools, including at UCLA. I think if I had gone, I wouldn't be a filmmaker today. And there was something that I really liked about just making a film and deciding for myself what were the mistakes and what weren't the mistakes. And I think that had I been in a situation where there was a teacher judging, because there's plenty of judgment to be had in film school or outside of it, because there were grades and sort of a kind of advancement within the institution involved, I don't know if I would have developed my own sense of like how to make a film. But I do live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have for 30-some years now, and that, according to some foundation that did a study, is the healthiest independent film community in the United States, and that's a film school in itself. If I need to call in some fellow filmmakers to look at a rough cut, it's amazing the resources that we have, and the organizational support that's there, and just the people who are available to shoot and record sound and all that. So
you went to film school, you said, did you go?
no, I went to UCLA, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it's one of those things where I think if you want to be a film critic, go to film school and learn the language. I think if you want to learn the craft, go do it. So.
Yeah,
I think you need training, and there's lots of ways to. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and it started out with 100 students, and then only 25 of us were selected to graduate. And of the 25, I was probably number 24. And Dennis Haysbert was number 25. We were like, and the big stars of the school, I don't know what the hell happened to them. Dennis Haysbert and I are still working. And we were truly like the dregs. We were we eked in over the finish line, But they thought, they just considered us hopeless. And we're the only ones left. And so if you do go to school, or whatever's happening for you in school, that has nothing to do with what's going to happen to you professionally. Because there are different metrics in institutions than, originality, being memorable. Those are more important at the end of the day sometimes than pleasing whatever that institution sets up as.
You probably learn more on set than you did in school. Just
yeah,
doing.
Well, I learned more in life, and it took Dennis and I both a long time to break in. I actually founded the second AIDS program in America in 1984 and took a few years off and just ran an AIDS program. So when I did finally go back, it was really hard to scare me. I just buried hundreds of people with my own 2 hands. So casting director was not really a frightening experience for me. I was like, really, bring it on. You know, I'm so scared. You don't like me? Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. You know, it just was. I had life to bring to the process, and so I was able to really navigate a kind of vicious world with a whole different sensibility than somebody who's like, if you don't hire me, then I'm no good and I'm not worth anything. Mm-hmm. So if you do go to school, just remember it. Like, I'm telling you, Dennis Haysbert and I, they just really thought we were hopeless, and we're the only ones left standing. So don't take it seriously. However your grade, whatever your grades are, it doesn't have anything to do with how you're going to do in the business.
We also always say get an education, not a degree.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people going to school and they're just like, okay, I got that credit. Okay, I got that credit. Look, Mom and Dad, I got the piece of paper, and then they ended up learning nothing. You know, it's more important that, you know, when you are there, that you take out of it what you can, as opposed to just fulfilling requirements.
I was going to say, add that I think geography is probably a little more important. I mean, again, as far as getting an education, you do have to go to a place where films are being made all the time, whether that's documentary or narrative or independent, you know, and it's probably not going to be here. I mean, as much as we've got our film commission or whatever. So you do need probably best to go to somewhere where, and high quality stuff.
It's warmer in LA than New York.
Yeah. I have a friend who, or I have a bunch of friends in the Bay Area who went through the Stanford documentary program, and they, you know, they're my age and older, and one of the things I admire about that particular group of people is the way that they have, and I think some of it comes from their education at Stanford, they just have this sense of what they've done. Like one of my friends, Judy Irving, she made the Wild Parents of Telegraph Hill. Did that play here? Do you know this documentary?
Yeah, it did.
It's, I don't know, one of the top 30 highest grossing documentaries in the history of the world or something. And God, she spent about 2 years trying to get a distributor for that film, and just kind of inching it out into the world. And I asked her one day, what did you think during that whole period? Because she was getting turned down by almost every single film festival in America. And she just said, I just thought they were crazy. You know, I mean, she and a lot of her fellow Stanford documentary program alum have that kind of attitude, you know. I think it's great.
Yeah. Of confidence
worth the cost of admission to Stanford.
Great. Let's take
What
another
you're saying,
question.
real quick, I disagree with Laura, but real quick, there are opportunities in Cleveland. I mean,
I'm
in
not
terms,
saying there aren't.
I know there are, but around CSU, Tri-C, I know, and taking classes through Cleveland Filmmakers and some things. So while you are here, if you choose to move on from here, there's certainly opportunities and places to plug into, and I think that's important wherever you are. Just plug in. Don't be afraid to plug in.